Number 1. David Moses. This teen was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for beating an elderly woman to death after burglarizing her home. He has also been accused of sexually assaulting his sister and many other people in the past, but instead of acting emotional, he acts extremely calmly to this punishment, possibly a little too comfortable, as he is seen actually falling asleep, not once, but twice during the sentencing, with a chuckle, a laugh, and a yawn after yawn. David Moses acted strangely at his sentencing this morning, appearing to fall asleep in his chair not once, but twice. David Moses suffered physical, verbal, and emotional abuse as a child, leading to a lengthy criminal history that included sexually assaulting his sister, then a developmentally disabled cousin, and 7 other children while he was in a group home while sessions. His family said they hoped to see her again in heaven one day. Number 2. Lauren Riley and Lindsay Kalish. They allegedly committed an armed robbery. During the hearing, Atlanta Police Detective Carlos Maldonado revealed a series of disturbing texts exchanged before and after the robbery between the accused players, Lauren Riley and Lindsay Kalish. These 2 names were mentioned in text messages sent after the incident, and both were initiated by Riley, who texted Kalish shortly after helping to survey the scene. She was wondering why the men were beating people up was so appealing. Kalish responded by saying she wanted to sleep with one of the men accused of pistol whipping. One man passed out after fracturing his skull and being left in a pool of blood. The 2 women allegedly expected to be paid for their roles in the robbery and texted about it later. A man they hung out with that night had promised them money. Riley and Kalish were invited to a party at an Airbnb house in Reynoldstown after receiving a Snapchat invitation. There were only 7 people in a party of 21 when the 2 women arrived at 2 a.m. Riley left in a sprint and then drove suspiciously around the neighborhood with her lights off after the women allegedly looked around the party, uninterested in the other people but interested in their surroundings. The men then entered the party and committed the violent robbery, leaving several victims injured and robbed of their belongings. During the hearing, a Fulton County judge ruled that there was probable cause for Kalish and Riley to be bound over for trial on charges of aggravated assault, home invasion, armed robbery, and aggravated battery. Up next is a young girl who was seen crying miserably at her trial. When the judge awarded her a life sentence, she became awfully upset and began weeping as the police officers escorted her out of the courtroom. But what was more surprising was this girl's mother's reaction. This female defendant set up a date on the MetMe online dating app, which led to a robbery and then the unfortunate death of the victim involved. It's obvious that this girl was way over her head, but the law is the law, and she will have to serve the time for this crime that resulted in a young man's death. Her reaction shows the girl calling her mother, and her mother literally breaking down in tears after her daughter is eventually convicted and given a life sentence. The mother was shattered as her daughter was dragged away from the courtroom. She was inconsolable and was seeking help from others around. 4. John Baldwin. September 18th was a night that would forever alter the lives of 2 brothers. Adrianus Kazumas and his younger brother thought it was just another night, but they had no idea their world was about to be turned upside down. 2 men forced their way into their Glen Court home, launching a brutal attack that left one brother dead and the other fighting for his life. In Spring, Texas, he was a well-known restaurant owner. He and his brother owned and operated the Sunny Side of the Street restaurant, which was only a half-mile from their home. Kasumas was well-liked by many in the community, and his death sent shockwaves through the small town. For months, the case remained unsolved until police announced the arrest of 28-year-old Houston resident John Baldwin, who was charged with capital slaying. Baldwin was taken into custody and held in jail without bond, awaiting his court appearance. The next day, the details of the crime were gruesome. Investigators believe that Baldwin and another man broke into Kazuma's home, beat him and his brother, and stole some cash before fleeing the scene in a white car. The brutality of the crime was shocking, and many in the community were left reeling. The arrest of John Baldwin brought a small measure of closure to the community, but it also served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life for his family. The road to healing, which be a long and difficult one, but they could at least take comfort in the fact that justice was served. With that, we come to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.